finally saw The Materialists starring Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, Chris Evans. There's been a lot of discourse about this movie on this app, so I just thought I'd throw in my 2 cents. This is a spoiler review, so if you don't want to be spoiled, feel free to come back later. The plot of the movie basically revolves around Dakota Johnson's character. She's a matchmaker. She's honestly kind of a cynical person. She kind of views dating as a game. She basically views people at like face value, what they can provide in a relationship, what they want from another partner in a relationship. She sets people up. She's not really necessarily looking at people in depth. She's just seeing like, okay, they want someone that makes this much money. They want someone that's this tall. They want someone that's this weight, whatever. You can tell she's good at her job, but she's just kind of a little cynical when it comes to love and dating, and she views them as basically different concepts. She bumps into Pedro Pascal at a wedding, and he technically is like this unicorn. He's a perfect guy. He's hot. He's rich. He is a decent person. He basically asked her to date him, and even though she can't necessarily comprehend why he would want to date her, because, you know, they don't necessarily match up on value, she obviously starts dating him. We are introduced to Chris Evans' character. He is her ex-boyfriend, and we learn that they dated for quite a while, but they broke up because he was kind of like a broke actor. He was trying so hard to get into the business. They broke up many years ago because just the stress of money was too much for both of them, because neither one of them were making much money, and he just couldn't really provide her what she really wanted in that time, so they broke up even though they clearly still loved each other. And so she runs into him at this wedding that she meets Pedro Pascal at, and you know, they're friendly. They clearly still love each other, but she is starting to date Pedro Pascal. But throughout the movie, she's going through some different stressors, and she kind of leans on Chris Evans' character more so than Pedro, because he has been her person for so long. He understands who she is deep down. She kind of relies on him. She can tell him things that she can't tell other people. Like, she trusts him. And so as the movie goes on, you kind of see her come to terms with some pretty big things. There's a plot point that a lot of people do not like, which I totally get. There's an essay plot point in this movie, and it has nothing to do with any of these 3 characters. There's like a girl that she's been trying to help set up on a date. She sets her up with this guy that on paper he seemed like a decent person, but he ends up essaying her. So Dakota Johnson learns about this. She's overwhelmed with guilt, and she's kind of coming to terms with the fact that even though the guy that she set this girl up with on paper seemed like a decent guy and seemed to like check all of her boxes, he was actually a terrible person, and there's not really a way to vet someone just based looking on a list of people's attributes. I think that was like a wake-up call for her character. I think she starts seeing people differently and not just like face value. It's more complex, and there's deep attributes to people that can't really be written down on paper. I think it's a wake-up call for her to really reevaluate the way she looks at love, the way she looks at dating, the way she treats people. And she kind of leans on Chris Evans' character, and as she's going through this, you see her kind of looking back at the past. I think she loves Chris Evans' character, but obviously the things that she wants kind of clash with who he is and what he can provide her. But she ends up breaking up with Pedro Pascal, even though he's technically like the perfect person. He's just not her person. So they do break up, and she approaches Chris Evans' character, and they have like this night where they're kind of confronted with the fact that they both still love each other, but they're just worried like it's not going to work out because things are so hard and like things haven't really changed. It's a major criticism of Chris Evans' character I've seen, because he's still a broke boy. He has not really progressed in his career at all in the last couple years since they dated. He can't really provide her with anything. He's just still living in an apartment with roommates. He's worried like he can't give her what she wants, and he recognizes who she is. She's someone that wants security, that wants more out of a relationship than he can really provide. But what he can't provide is love, because he loves her and he views her as his person. And he gives this great speech where he's just like, when I see you, I see wrinkles, I see children that look like you. Like, he loves her. So she ends up choosing him, and she ends up choosing a life that is going to be hard. And they know for sure it's going to be difficult, because you know, life is a struggle, especially when you don't have money, and it's difficult. But they love each other enough to where they can accept that struggle, where they're going to go into it together. And when you truly love someone, yeah, you deal with things together. I thought this movie was a great reminder of just what dating has become, because like with all the dating apps and stuff, you can put so many filters down of what you want. You know, you could choose not to even look at people that don't match certain criteria like height or, you know, income or whatever. But the way dating works right now, you don't necessarily have to like look too far deep into a person. You see their profile, you kind of take them for face value. You swipe left or you swipe right, you know? So like, I think this is a good reminder to maybe give people a chance. People that don't necessarily like match all of the boxes on paper are complex, and there's some really good people that might not match your height requirement, or, you know, I think it's just a good reminder for us all to kind of look at what we're looking for in a partner and kind of focus on things that truly matter. Because like, yeah, it would be perfect to marry a Pedro Pascal, like a rich beautiful man or a rich beautiful person, whoever. But yeah, there are just things that are more important in life than just the physical attributes that someone could provide, or like the money that someone brings into a relationship. If you truly love someone, that person is truly your person, you're just gonna figure it out together. I just like the heart of the movie because I do feel like it was kind of like forcing us to look inward on how our society works right now on dating, how cold it's become, how dehumanizing it kind of has become, and kind of how transactional things have, you know, turned into. It provides us with the opportunity to look inward and possibly give people more of a chance that we might not necessarily given a chance to. Because, you know, true love, and I know it sounds silly, but actual love, it takes work. It's not perfect. It's difficult, but it's worth it, because when you find your person, that's your person, and it's completely worth it. I don't know. I really enjoyed this film. It's not a rom-com, so if you're going into it expecting a rom-com, you're going to be disappointed. It's more of a drama. The vibes are very similar to Celine Song's other film, Past Lives. So when I was going into it, I wasn't disappointed because I kind of was expecting that. And I don't know, I really enjoyed this one. I think they all did a fantastic job. I think all three of these actors did a great job. I've seen some criticism about Dakota Johnson's acting. I think she plays this character pretty well. I think Chris Evans was really great in this film. Pedro Pascal was good as always. I think they really did a fantastic job in this film. But yeah, I would probably rate this one like an 8 out of 10. It's not a perfect film, but I really enjoyed it. I think it's definitely worthwhile. I highly encourage you to check it out. But yeah, feel free to voice your opinions in the comments. I know some people really didn't like this one, but I personally enjoyed it.